Hello everyone and welcome back to Sam's on Wrestling. I am Baby Sam and this is Elder Sam. How are you today, Sam?
Oh, do you know what? I'm doing well. I'm ready to
Yeah.
stir up some controversy.
Lovely. He
I'm,
does.
I'm ready for people to disagree. I'm ready for people to get angry in the comment section below.
He enjoys stirring up a fuss at the old people's home. He really does. So anyway, this is our controversial topic debate. First of all, don't forget to like, share and subscribe for more of this content. We are basically going to talk about controversial takes on wrestling, something that's unpopular opinion, and just discuss them as to why we think.
Now, these could be our own personal ones. They could be something we've seen on Twitter. We might be playing devil's advocate. So essentially, they might not necessarily review. We're just going to focus of discussion from a controversial opinion. Do you like to cause a bit of controversy? You like, riling people up on the old socials?
I really do.
Yeah,
Yes,
I can see you in that, yeah. We're normally so positive. Let's really go out there.
Let's embrace the dark side today.
Yeah, I think so. Dark side.
Good.
Sam, I would like to go first on my controversial topic.
I will allow you to.
This is a round table. It's a round table discussion, controversial. And the reason I'm bringing it up is because it's something that's happened in a previous video. If you want to talk about where this has come from, this comes from our top 10 best favourite, from a count-out video, of belt designs. And in this, I had 2 title belts that weren't on my list at all. In fact, I don't like them. I actually don't think they're very good at all. So my controversial opinion, Sam, is the Winged Eagle and the Big Eagle belts are really boring, dull belts. We had a small discussion on the top 10, and I think it's time to widen that out.
I disagree.
Well, you had it as your top. It's your favourite belt, is the Winged Eagle.
Yeah.
So here's what I think. First of all, I don't think it's beautiful. I think they're both really boring. I think, first of all, when you're going to have something as a world title, I want it to look amazing. They're both quite small, for a start. And then it's just because they are the world title and they're put on a pedestal, then people really go, are amazing. And I'll also point out the fact that then WWE are doing really terrible WWE titles, like the spinner belt and the current WWE title belt, don't help it, and they make them look even better. But they're not great. The Eagle makes no sense. It's never been a part of WWE in any way, shape, or form. And they keep pushing the Eagle. It was even on the Undisputed title, which is my favourite personal title. It's even on there, though you can't quite see it, kind of makes out the thing. So I don't understand where the Eagle comes from. Could someone tell me where the Eagle comes from? But that first belt that we're talking about, the Winged Eagle, I'm saying, oh, it's amazing. I just don't care for it. It doesn't look that impressive. It just says kind of champion. There's a Winged Eagle, and then the leather doesn't quite fit around it. They haven't attached the top buckle bit to the leather. So the leather kind of, imagine this is like the plate. It just folds around it slightly. So it kind of flaps. It doesn't look that impressive. It's just because, and why do I think most people like it? It's their first belt. Most people over the age of, around about 40 and older, slightly younger, that's their favourite belt. And then you get to the big one, the one in the Attitude Era that Stone Cold had. That's Attitude Era is the most famous one. So everyone goes to that and goes, yeah, I remember this belt was one of the most famous belts. It's so great. And I'm like, it literally is even more boring. It's just got a blue earth in the middle of it. There is a fly attacking. I'm sorry, fly. I'm sorry that you don't like the belts, but I don't like them. Die, fly. Die, fly.
He's got a controversial opinion.
He has. Get off my camera lens. But it's just a circle, a tiny little earth, and it's got giant champion. I just think it's quite boring. It's so boring that Austin tries to get a new one, for himself. And I know this is the gimmick, but the fact that you aren't lording this title belt, they're just a circle and a wing, and it's nothing. Whereas you look at the Undisputed title or the World Heavyweight Championship that WCW had, and then they're just so much better. The AEW belt, so much better. They're boring, and I believe people like them because they are the title belt of their generations, or people have told them these are lovely, pretty belts, and they're going, okay, lovely, pretty belts. I just looked at them like, I don't care about them, Sam.
I think your point is valid in terms of nostalgia, in terms of it being what you grew up with.
Yeah.
Having said that, I grew up with the spinner belt, and I don't like that.
Well, here's the thing, is thankfully, what will help nostalgia, or help being young, is turning up for something that's terrible. No one can back that, but to be fair, Sam, it did sell a bajillion
I'm not
times.
debating that, but we know that's why it was there.
Yeah.
In terms of these belts, I think you're being harsh, but I think the Winged Eagle, looks very good. I get your point about the size. I just think belts at that time tended to be smaller. That tended to be...
The tag team belts were bigger.
Yeah, I think maybe that was the beginning of the larger belts coming in. But I think
were
historically, they always were smaller and have grown and grown and grown compared to the ones now. If you think of the ones Hulk Hogan one compared to the one now, probably almost twice the size. So I think that was just a symptom of the time. I think it works. I just think it looks prestigious. I think an eagle is a really gorgeous design.
I just wish someone would explain to me what the point
But
of it is.
I don't think it needs.
Is it America?
I think that's what it is. I don't think it needs
But
to be
it's
that
world.
deep. I don't. Yeah, but I don't think. Well, it's just America. I think they're the world. But I don't think it needs to be that deep in terms of it's a part of the WWE logo. I think it can just be on the belt. You are the champion. It has an eagle on it. I don't think it needs to be. The WWE doesn't have a world. I know it has a world in the name, but it doesn't have a world in the logo. It's still.
They have worlds on the title belt. The big eagle one later on.
That's what I'm saying. So it has them on the titles, but it doesn't necessarily. It's not a part of the logo. If you want the logo, you want this current WWE Championship. That's all it is. I think they are really good. I think you can very much argue that they're not number one. I think that's because I think that Undisputed one's really up
It's
there.
gorgeous.
Yeah, it's a shame they binned it, but
2.5 years.
Yeah,
2.5 years.
time.
Well, 3 years on the dot, really, but.
So I get your point. I disagree. Maybe it's because you think of who held that title.
Oh, no, I get that. But, like, who holds it gives it rep. And that's another thing, though. Who else I go, oh, it's like Gunther now. People are saying they like the IC title. I'm like, no, it sucks. Like it. It's an awful title belt in comparison to the two that came pretty much before it that were so much prettier and so much nicer. But because Gunther has given it standing, and then Sami Zayn gave it a bit more standing after him, then people are like, oh, I like this belt now. No, I disagree. I just think the fact that they're becoming the two biggest boom periods in wrestling, and everyone will just laud something at the time because it's when they watched. Like, I'm pretty certain if you ask most people what their favourite belt is, who's your age, younger, like, who started watching wrestling now, I don't know what their answer would actually be, to be honest, because there is no nice belt. They actually might go something like the North American and stuff like that, but for me, I just want something more, and I think the fact that the World Heavyweight Championship was happening on the other side, and it's just such a cooler belt, a nicer belt, a more prettier belt, it didn't work for me. I was glad they got rid of it, personally. I was glad they replaced it with the Undisputed. Really happy. I'm not happy they replaced it with the Spinner. It is better than the Spinner. It is better than the current one. I will give you that. My saying is I think they're boring. I think it's the thing. I think they're a bit boring. Anyway, that's my controversial opinion. What do you think about them? I assume I am in the minority. I know that, but I don't like them, Sam.
That's okay. That's okay. That is your controversy.
So you're not withstanding me? You're not letting me have an agreement? You're not going to agree with me?
I disagree personally.
Okay.
But I see your point now. I'm probably closer to where you stand now. But I'm not.
I haven't dragged you in there yet.
Not entirely, unfortunately. But I get your point.
Sam, what's your controversial opinion you would like to bring out for the day? I
think a lot of modern wrestling fans might not like this one. And maybe if I said it a few years ago, it would get a lot more resistance. What I'm going to say is I think a lot, not all, a lot of the NXT call-ups that you infamously go, they all failed because of Vince, and let's not take Vince's responsibility away from this. I think a lot of them failed because actually they weren't good enough to be main events. Everyone wanted the NXT call-ups to come up and all be really important, all be stars. You had a massive influx of them, and I think what happened was they all got over because on the main roster you had absolute rubbish.
Yeah,
it was really terrible.
Really bad.
It was terrible. And on NXT you had this refreshing, cool way of storytelling.
Triple H booking it.
Just logical, long-term booking. Accentuating people's strengths. So with Gargano and Ciampa, they're putting on absolute belters. Can
I just put a caveat just on what you're saying? Male, I assume, because all the female ones,
I would say,
have pretty much knocked it out of the park in the grand scheme of things.
So I'm on about the ones that failed.
Yeah,
the successful ones, i.e. the Rheas and the Beckys and Charlottes.
Yes, I'm saying they were
great, and you have plenty of exceptions from NXT. Yeah. I'm talking about specifically the ones that failed. I think.
So who's failed? Give me some examples.
I think Balor compared to where they thought.
Well, you know my opinion on Balor. Yeah. I don't rate Balor, not because he's not a good guy, a great guy, and a relatively decent worker. His mic skills they've improved under the Judgment Day. I'll give him that. But that when he debuted in 2016 on the main roster, he had nothing, and he knew he was struggling because when he first debuted, he was like, "This is so much more than I was expecting." Yeah. But there's only so many times I can watch someone kick someone into the turnbuckle.
I think even now, if you look at his mic skills.
It's fine.
Not great.
It's fine at best.
And he's been around for a long time now. I think if you look at Gargano when he came up, so this is what proved it for me. The Triple H era, where he suddenly came in and was giving all these people chances, he suddenly has Gargano come back, because I think he was released from NXT.
He was, yeah.
So he came back and he was given the spotlight, and everyone was happy to see him, and then
Nothing.
nothing.
He hasn't got a lot. He's a tag team wrestler.
Yeah,
They were right to put him back with Ciampa, who also was struggling.
absolutely.
I think Ciampa was doing better.
But just as, I think a lot of people went, Gargano should be a main eventer because he was booked really well in NXT.
As well as being a very good in-ring worker.
Yes, but then to be a main event of the main roster, I don't think he was that level. And I think you can look at the same thing with Cross. I think he was presented...
Karrion Kross does not work.
No, he was presented really well in NXT, but you have to present him really well, and it's that Adam Cole quote, you need all of these smoke and mirrors to make you look special, to make me look special, you ring the bell. Adam Cole might be another example. If he
Adam
got
Cole,
to the main roster,
Adam Cole is another example. MJF has put Adam Cole onto a level, and then look how many got injured, it just went plummeting down.
When he was given the freedom to do what he wanted to do in AEW, he wasn't brilliant in my opinion. I think
he needed MJF.
Yeah, he needs someone else to tell the story, really, I think. And he can do storytelling if someone is basically holding his hand through that. He's an amazing in-ring worker. But then I look at...
Aleister Black.
Aleister Black is another great example.
Mm-hmm.
Keith Lee. I think he was booked really well, but... And I know you had the whole, what was it, Bearcat stuff.
Bearcat, God, yeah.
Whatever it was.
Yeah, what was going on there?
Vince didn't do him justice.
Vince didn't help any of these people.
No.
At all.
But I think when you're that good, you can get over even without much help.
Kevin Owens.
Yes, and Sami Zayn. And I don't think a lot of these people that you might go and go, oh, Vince didn't do them justice. Yes.
And he didn't.
But I don't think a lot of these people were good enough. And I think NXT...
Or good enough as a main eventer.
Like Nakamura. Could he talk? No.
Nakamura...
How many good main...
Triple H did a great idea by making Nakamura speak in Japanese and put subtitles. That worked. He made him so much more. The thing about the NXT call-ups, you're right. I actually think it's that controversial, to be honest.
I think with a lot
but
of fans...
I get what you're trying to say is the fact that you're saying they should have been main event. And Vince's booking didn't help. But Vince's booking didn't help from a different reason. He didn't then rebuild them up. People thought they were going to come in and go straight into the main event. Why? Why should they come in and go straight to main event? Like, people that talk about that Ilya Dragunov, they were like, why has he lost his first match, Ilya Dragunov? Why? Why is that? Because he lost to Jey Uso in a King of the Ring tournament. Jey Uso, the number one draft pick for Raw. You know, that's what people complained about. He's allowed to lose. Bron Breakker lost his first match to Sami Zayn. They're allowed to lose. Let them build. I think Triple H has done a lot better with the NXT call-ups now because he hasn't just gone main event or he hasn't listened. But there are definitely some people who are struggling. I think Gargano is one, and he still is. I think the tag team run was great and all that stuff, but it's like, it's not main event.
That was the one that made me realise it, because then it was, well, you can't blame Vince anymore.
Well, a really hot storyline really helps. You can being in a hot storyline does not then mean you can be main event. Anyone can be in a hot storyline.
It's another topic for another time.
Yeah, maybe. Me and you disagree, I think, on this.
Yeah.
But so I get that the NXT call-ups, a lot of them I think were good enough for the main event if they were given the mid-card booking. I think Aleister Black's one. They just forgot what to do with him. And remember, they had a panic, if you recall, because viewership was tanked. So they literally debuted Gargano, Ciampa, who suddenly became a tag team again, even though they just feuded. Ricochet and Aleister Black all in the same week, and then Vince gave up on them almost immediately. So the booking didn't help for them to become main eventers. But I kind of get what you're saying. A lot of them aren't that main event level, but they didn't give themselves the upper mid-card level either. And that's what you need to do. I think Triple H has done a lot better job with it now.
Oh, absolutely. But I think it's the idea of when you've got Vince, you can almost just blame him entirely and not put accountability and actually go, these guys are good, but they're not as good as they were being hyped to be. And it's almost as if every time an NXT call-up happened, it was like if they weren't pushed really
immediately
hard,
they got...
then it was like, oh, he's burying them, and it's an injustice. It's like, you can't do that with everyone. You can't.
Because other people did come up from the NXT, and he did put them straight away. Bray Wyatt, for example, with the Wyatts.
Samoa Joe, I thought, did really well.
Samoa Joe.
But then I didn't. He was just good enough.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So I get what your point. I think there was an element, though, of Vince not watching the product and somebody going, this person is hot, their time to move up is now. And their writers weren't watching. No one was writing. No one was sat down watching the NXT product. So they had this new person and going, I don't know who you are. So a lot of these people were actually generally starting as almost like they were jobbers because they had lost all their personality traits. So it's a balancing act. I think a lot of these are good enough if they had the right booking. Because I think anyone's good enough with the right booking. Because you can hide so many frailties. I think Karrion Kross could have been main event if they actually did the right stuff. They literally debuted him in the main event.
Yeah.
That was the stupidity. No, you debut that character against a mid-card guy, have him destroy the mid-card guy, like Umaga. destroys Ric Flair. He then builds up, beats Kane.
Well, he was another example of they did the whole undefeated thing with him, and then lost to Jeff Hardy like immediately on a Raw, and then that was it.
His first loss was Cena.
Cena?
Yeah.
Karrion Kross?
Oh, Karrion Kross, apology. Apologies.
Right.
No, he lost his debut match to Jeff Hardy. Yes, I thought you meant him. Sorry. No. That's stupid.
Yeah.
And they also got rid of Scarlett and gave him like a shredder match. It didn't work. So I think in the end, I get what you're saying. A lot of them aren't because NXT is a bubble. The crowd are amazing, and anyone can look incredible. But there are people who come up and did amazing because
absolutely.
they were ready. Drew McIntyre,
and that's my point.
You know,
that's absolutely my point. The people who were ready, without amazing booking, did shine. They did, and you might get a few exceptions,
Shield.
but I think
exactly. Shield, yeah. So I know I'm going to agree with you. I am going to agree that a few of these NXT call-ups that everyone said should be made about. At the end of the day, when you're going, this person should be booked. You need to sit down and go, am I saying that just because they're my favourite, or because WWE are missing a trick, or AEW are missing a trick, TNA missing a trick? And for example, Gargano, I really enjoy watching Gargano in a tag team match, but he's not a main event level. Hasn't got the promo, hasn't got the character, and it wouldn't work. I think we're picking on Gargano a little bit. I think but Ciampa's the same. And I love both of them. I love both of them. Follow them on Twitter. They're hilarious. But I get what you're saying. Keith Lee was just badly booked. He would have been a main eventer, and they badly booked him. Yeah, but then again, he got to AEW, and the exact same thing happened. Example. So if it happens in two companies, at the end, Aleister Black not really done anything in AEW in the grand scheme of things. So my views on Ricochet. So
yes,
I'm going with you. I'll give you a pass. I believe you. Anyway, those are this month's controversial topics. What is your controversial opinion? What do you think about our two? Do you like the belts? What do you think of the NXT call-ups? Have we missed one? What about ones that we didn't think about who actually had a bad run, who could have been good, like Bobby Roode is another one. So please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Let us know what you say in the comments below, and we will see you next time.